Welcome to this week's episode of No Limits Hunting. I'm your host, Brian Spicer, here with co-host Adam Lowry. We're looking back on our trip to Spain this year. You know, obviously the first two episodes cataloged our trip over there with the Ronda and the Southeastern Ibex. And, you know, Adam and I and other members of the team have talked a lot about the trip and just, you know, how spiritual it was for us. You know, something completely different. You know, we've hunted all around the world, whether it be Africa or New Zealand, but our trip to Spain was something truly special. So, you know, Adam, tell me about your Ronda hunt. You know, what stood out from just the overall experience, the hotels, the accommodations, the hunting terrain. I mean, when you look back, what's really your best memories?
Well, I would say for starters, I wasn't prepared for the hunt. So you're thinking Spain. I don't really know what I'm going to get into. I think Spain. I'm thinking running with the bulls, you know, some cool stuff like that. But mountains, and I'm not talking like hills. I'm talking like real mountains. So we've been working out. We've been trying to get in shape for hunts and stuff. You know, we're hunting mountains, but this was the real deal. I mean, I don't even know what the altitude was. I wasn't prepared, to be honest with you. It really was. I was disappointed in myself, kind of. This hunt was absolutely. It was a kick in the butt, to be honest with you. These mountain goats, if you will, these Ibex, just majestic animals, if you will. It brought me. It really made me rethink myself in a sense of hunting, because, you know, the hunting we do in the States, this is completely different. Not even remotely close. You know, we're hiking miles, just straight uphill. We're chasing these animals. It was a hunt like never before.
Yeah, and I mean, I think when you look back on the footage, you were huffing and puffing quite a bit. And
I was, yeah.
And I think on your run hunt, it was a little bit different than mine, just the overall terrain that you guys were in.
It was tough. It was tough.
You know, and look, we took a long walk, but, you know, looking back at your footage versus mine, you guys were like going over rocks and
we were straight
dropping down in,
Yep.
where we were. I'm not going to say even keel by any means, because it was a hard hunt. But,
Right.
you know, what did you think of, like, Fran, the outfitter, Corju Safaris, and his operation?
You know, I can't say enough about those guys. You know, like you said, we've hunted all over the world. These guys are professional. You know, just the knowledge they, you know, taught you, the things to look for, just, you know, what I find cool about hunting with people abroad, if you will, is at the end of the day, after the hunt, you know, they become part of your family, if you sense. You know, there's that sense of, I don't really know how to describe it, but there's a bond there, right? Because you're experiencing these once in a lifetime opportunities with these guys that it's just different, right? So Corju hunting is top of the line. I can't say enough about these guys.
So, talk to me about shot. I mean, your shot on the Ronda was what, 150 yards?
Roughly,
a little
yeah.
less?
Ballpark figure, 150. So we're, you know, in the States, you know, we shoot off sticks or we shoot off out of blinds, things of that nature. Well, we're on my particular hunt, we're basically going vertical, right? So it's either you're prone or you're leaned up on a rock or you're freehand in all reality. So, but the way my hunt unfolded was it just pretty much hopped over a rock, and my Ibex is just right there. I didn't even know he was there. We were chasing him. He's there. Boom. All right. Throw the bag down. Throw the gun on top of the bag, and then just
range and go.
We didn't even have time to range. It was just, all right. He's definitely shooting range. Let's just go ahead and put him on the ground. So, hate to say it's a bang bang play, but that's exactly what it was. Didn't have time to think about it. Didn't have time to range at all. It was, all right. A shot's presented. We got Matt, our camera guy. He's on the animal. We just had to put him on the ground.
This segment's brought to you by Revital Outdoors. This segment's brought to you by Manning Custom Taxidermy.
All right, Brian, enough about my hunt. Tell me your most memorable experience of this Spain trip.
Yeah, I think, you know, specific to the Ronda hunt, you know, we got there. Unfortunately, the plane was delayed. We got in a little bit late. Only had an hour to sight in the rifles, and, you know, immediately saw animals. You know, we probably could have killed the first night, but That's just not how I wanted the hunt to go, right? I mean, I wanted to see animals, I wanted to see the countryside. And we got up early the next morning, got out, we were right outside of town and immediately spotted, Ibex on the mountain. And I thought this is going to kind of be a weird deal, right? We're just off the road, I got chickens and roosters crowing in the background. And I'm like, I don't understand why these animals are so close to town. And there was nothing there for us to shoot. So we moved further into the mountains, went about a half hour up the hill, if you will, and parked the truck and talked to Fran, the guide. And he says, we're just going to go for a little walk here, 30 minutes to an hour, just explore, see what's going on. The game scouts have a couple things spotted. Let's just go see what's going on the mountainside. Well, lo and behold, I put 4 bullets in the gun, don't take a backpack, no water, no food, nothing. And we got back to the truck 5:30 that night after hiking, I think it was 11 or 12 miles if I look back on my phone. And luckily we harvested an Ibex almost right at last light. We worked him all day, had multiple opportunities on him, and he just kept working back down the mountain. And we got down in the valley, got prone, and got a shot on him just over 200 yards. And for the first time in my life, actually scoped myself. So that if you look at it, I had an 8-inch high rock with my bipod fully deployed, and I'm shooting almost straight up the hill.
Right.
And when that trigger broke, that buttstock slid right through my armpit, and the only thing that stopped that gun from going backwards was my forehead. So I knew it immediately. You just feel that hot rush of blood dripping down your face, and it. Not only was I laughing at myself, but Fran was laughing at me. The local guys were laughing at me. Hell, I even think the dead Ibex was laughing at me. But it was truly a remarkable experience.
Right.
Just like you had talked about, being in those mountains. Luckily, we had decided, or I did, to take a couple pounds off before the trip, and was working out.
Right.
It really paid dividends to be able to walk those hills like we did and get on those animals and just see the number of animals that we saw. I know you saw a lot less than we did, but we saw Ibex all day, and it was just a matter of finding the right one that was mature, that was in the age class that we wanted, and obviously that had the horn length that we wanted. So completely thrilled with how the hunt unfolded. We celebrated that night. Obviously went back to the hotel and had a couple adult beverages, if you will.
A few.
What was really neat is just the overall cultural experience that's so different in Spain than what we have here, right? You get out of the airport and you drive down to the hunting area, and we were talking the whole way, and it's like, what are those trees? Well, they're olive trees.
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, and we didn't know, I didn't at least, that Spain was that prevalent for olive oil. And they were manicured, perfect, and it was gorgeous to drive through that.
It's almost like if you go to Napa, you have the vineyards.
Right.
You have the vineyards and everything's just pristine and organized, but olive trees.
Absolutely, right. So then, you get back to the hotel that night and you're having dinner and breaking bread, and you've got this local olive oil that's just killer, and then you've got cured ham. And, at the hotel that we stayed at, they had a full array of this cured meat.
Yep.
Everything from, a couple years old to even older. And
I think up to 20 years old.
Yeah, and we were fortunate that Fran had a connection there at the hotel, and they took down one of the better pieces and actually sliced it up for us to have a little late appetizer that night. But it adds to the hunt, right? It adds to the experience. It's when you come home and you tell people about Spain and why you went there, it's not just about killing an animal. It's about everything else that goes into it, right?
It's a different culture all the way around.
100%, right? It's the travel. It's getting there. It's unpacking your guns from a hard case to a soft case, and everything that goes into it. And it was, like I said earlier, just a remarkable experience, and I can't wait to do it again.
This segment's brought to you by Orange Corn Company.
Have you ever wanted to hunt trophy axis deer? Better yet, you ever wanted to be on a nationally syndicated TV show while doing it? Well, here's your opportunity. Our gracious partner, Revital Outdoors, has donated a 2023 trophy axis hunt to be taken here in the state of Texas. You could be in camp with us to film an episode for season 9 of No Limits Hunting. You'll be able to see the behind the scenes, all the stuff that goes into making a world-class TV production. In order to register to win, all you have to do is go and scan that QR code in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, fill out a brief questionnaire, and one lucky winner will be in camp with us next summer. So after the Ronda hunt, we have to transition to the southeastern camp, and both of these species are in the southern part of Spain. So, Adam, when we moved camps, I think the mountains got more rugged than they were in the Ronda area when we moved to the southeastern.
I'll say they're more rugged, but they weren't as steep. So when I was hunting the Ronda, we were just basically going vertical, right? So these weren't as vertical, but the terrain was just rougher in a sense, right? So I don't even know how to describe this hunt in general. We started out at one property, we weren't seeing the animals, right? So, and that's another good thing about Fran and Corju hunting is they have plan B, right? So, as you know, we've hunted all over the place. A good guide has plan B, right? So we were hunting, we just weren't seeing the animals that we needed to see. We saw just young, mature animals, nothing that we were looking for, right? So, we threw an audible in, we went to a different property, and at least for me, it's like, bam, here the animals are. I mean, just monster trophy animals. I probably saw 3 or 4 different shooters, and then all of a sudden, the one's there, right? I mean, he's just like, I hate to say that it was like the perfect TV moment, just standing on a rock cliff, just the silhouette of the animal, just, like when you're watching TV and you just see that's the TV shot.
So we're finally starting to see some movement over here to the right. There's probably about 4 or 5, 2 small billies, but we spotted a good one back here behind us. So we're just gonna come up there and see if we can get a shot. And hold on, what's what they're doing? Yes, no, maybe? Everybody good?
That's the way to do it, buddy. That's the way to do it. That was a heck of a shot. Amazing. That was amazing.
You actually stoned him.
He was dead before he hit the rock, and then he fell a ways. But like you brought up earlier, like a spiritual moment, if you will, right? So this hunt for me was more than just a hunt, right? So we've hunted all over the place. This one was, I'm traveling the world. I'm hunting with my best friends, right? So it's not just, we're out hunting, blah, blah, blah. But this one was, I don't know if it's me because I'm getting older. I enjoyed it. Like, I really took in the moment.
This one mattered.
This one was different. I don't know what it was about it, but this hunt was different. Different land we're hunting, different just species of animals in general. We've never hunted goats before, but this hunt was special. I can't tell you what it was about it, but this one was. When I say I was living the dream, like this hunt literally was everything I've dreamed of. So it was. All I can say, it was special. I really don't know how to describe it.
This segment's brought to you by Dillon Manufacturing.
I think your southeastern hunt unfolded a lot different than mine, and correct me if I'm wrong. You shot day one on your southeastern,
yes.
Where for me, we saw animals day one, but unfortunately, you kill out, and we had to keep moving camps because unfortunately, we just weren't seeing the animals in the age class and the quality that we were looking for. And, I give Fran and his team a lot of credit. And, we were in one area. It was a good area. Felt really comfortable with it, seeing animals, but the big ones weren't materializing. Right. So he had a plan to move us to the next place, and unfortunately to the next place.
Right.
And really, to his credit, the accommodations just kept getting better and better. We were hunting different terrain. On the southeastern specifically, I know Adam said his terrain was a little more benign. Mine got more aggressive. And for those of you that don't know me personally, I am deathly afraid of heights. So there was one point in time where there was a little rock outcropping with a natural spring at the top of the mountain. And how that happens, I have no idea. Not a geologist. But these guys had been scouting the area and they'd seen animals coming to this spring on a regular basis. And we were working to this rock outcropping, and they're like, "Oh, you need to come over here. You need to come over here." I got about 10 yards away from the edge of that rock, and I'm like, "This is not going to happen for me."
No,
There's
that's a non-starter.
That's a non-starter. There's no chance this guy is walking out there. So I pulled everything back and said, I cannot physically make myself go to the edge of that rock and get prone and potentially have a shot of a lifetime. Right. It was not going to happen. So, we back out of that area. Luckily for me, it wasn't that confrontational because the animals didn't come in that night, but it just added to the experience of everything that we were going through. And, that night, we go into town and we have kind of a special dinner, and we were sampling some of the local cheese. And Adam is, by his own admission, a little bit of a picky eater. And
to say the least.
Yeah. So there was this Ibex cheese that just didn't hit his palate the way that he liked.
It probably was. I'm not a super cheese guy. This was probably the worst, stinkiest cheese ever. I don't really suggest licking an Ibex, but if you were just to lick an Ibex, that's what this would taste like.
Yeah, I got it down. Didn't go for piece number 2.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
But between that and the ice cubes in the restaurant, a lot of good memories that we probably shouldn't talk about on camera, but really added to the experience and really added to the hunt. But, long story short, from that location we moved again, and Fran got us on a exceptional Ibex. Shot him frontal, got prone, had him and Fran Jr. with me. Right. And it just, the way that the hunt unfolded, the camaraderie, everything about it, that was the first hunt that you and Matt and I were all together because you had killed out early.
Yeah, so we were over there for 7-8 days, and that actually was the first hunt we actually were together, yeah.
Yeah, and that means a lot, right? I mean, we talk about the No Limits family a lot, and just to be able to hunt with these guys and have those experiences, it matters.
Absolutely.
When you're out hunting alone and you've got some guys that you've just met. Yeah, the experience is cool, but when you're with your family and your friends and the guys that you care most about, it really adds to the experience and the memories. And when we're old and decrepit, 20, 30 years from now, telling lies to our kids, we'll be talking about this hunt. So, hats off to Fran and Corju Hunting. A world-class professional. We can't wait to go back with them for the other 2 species.
Absolutely.
We're starting to get our first set of mounts back and can't wait for the next experience with him and his team. Again, world-class people. If you want to contact them, look them up at the end of the episode. Reference No Limits Hunting, and just let them know that we send them in your direction. Thanks for watching this week's episode of No Limits Hunting. Make sure you tune in next week. We're heading over to New Zealand with our good friends from Spade Creek. A little flashback to a hunt that we did a couple years ago.
Today is the day. We've been waiting for this trip for a while. We're headed back to... Or, we're not headed back. We've never been. Delete. We're headed to Spain. I don't know why it's like that. There we go. Let's try that now. The long-anticipated trip to Spain is finally here. We've been planning this trip. This season's going to be amazing. It's this is the reason we do what we do. So super excited. Finally able to go. So I'm going to delete this because I don't like this one either. 8 o'clock their time, which would be about 2 o'clock my time. So 2 o'clock in the morning. We're super excited. I don't remember what all I've said, so I'm going to delete. We planned this trip
We're all packed up, got a good night's rest. Be out there. That sucked. That was so bad.
It's not always about the inches, it's about the memories, and definitely memories are made on this trip.
Well, you got the inches too, so.
Are you ready? Game face?
Still waiting.
All right. Boom, boom. Okay, go.
Sit here and judge the whole time.
Go ahead.
Been judged my entire life.
Are you ready?
Obviously, about 5 times.
6 times.
Super excited.
He's super excited.
Super
Obviously.
Etc.
Time to make it official.
Oh yeah.
Are we up?
The mustache is horrible.
Okay, are we gonna go?
Yep. I just need to get one thing out.